NFL fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day Sports Show. In today's episode, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm going to give you guys a full 7-round mock draft for your Vikings. They don't have a ton of picks, and they have a ton of free agents, right? So these picks are very important to the future of the Vikings moving forward. Let's get into it. All right, Vikings fans, if you can do me a huge solid, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It does really help us get into the YouTube algorithm. The first thing I want to address today is the key free agents for your Minnesota Vikings, and there are a buttload of them, guys. Juicy ones. Sam Darnold, offensive tackle Cam Robinson, who came over from the Jaguars, Harrison Smith, Cameron Bynum, and then 3 cornerbacks, Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, Stephen Gilmore. We don't know who's going to come back. So drafting a cornerback at some point in this draft is extremely, extremely important. And then we round it out with Aaron Jones and Cam Akers. 2 very interesting running backs. It'll be, I don't know if they're going to come back. Maybe Aaron Jones on a 1 or 2 year deal, but Cam Akers, maybe he gets a 2-3 year deal with the Vikings. I expect one of them to come back. So this draft is pretty deep in running back, so maybe we can get one in the later rounds. All right, let's get into the 7-round mock draft. All right, Minnesota Vikings fans, we're picking at number 24 in the first round. Tyler Warren just went at 23 to the Packers, and Scourton went the edge defender to the Chargers. We take a look at the board. Shamar Stewart, he's very interesting. So is Jack Sawyer. Pretty solid pass rusher, guys. Jody Barron is the best cornerback on the board right now, in my opinion. Very, very solid year at Texas. 90 overall grade. Coverage grade coming in at 91. Run grade is really, really exceptional to it. 83.3. Got very solid size. 5'11", 200. Maybe you would want him a little bit taller, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? With those 3 free agents walking, I definitely think that they're going to probably sign 1 out of the 3 to come back, but they still need depth. And then if you took a look at their depth chart, in the middle of that defense, guys, that 3-4 defense, the D-line needs a lot of work. Like 50 grades for every single one of the guys. They need some serious help. The outside linebacker spots, they're pretty solid, but the interior defensive linemen, not great. And Kenneth Grant is the epitome of consistency. Back-to-back 80 PFF grade campaigns, 8 sacks over the last 2 years. You know, coming in right around 40 hurries. Pretty impressive career. The pass rush win rate right around 10%, where I like it to be. But that run defense grade at 87.5. Extremely impressive, guys. And he's a monster. 6'3", 339 pounds. He could fit in that 3-4 scheme, in my opinion. In play, he could probably play in the middle at the nose or on the 2 DN spots. I like Kenneth Grant. I know we need a cornerback desperately, but there are some good ones later in the draft. A guy like Kenny Grant is not going to be available when they pick later in this draft. All right, guys, 6'3", 339-pound monster. Kenneth Grant is going to your Minnesota Vikings with their first-round pick. If we take a look here, guys, the Vikings, sad face, only have 4 draft picks this year. Not great. Not great. All right. 3rd round pick, number 97 overall. Now we got 2 5th-round picks, right? So for me, running back is interesting, but we really need a cornerback desperately, right? For me, cornerback is in play. Both the guys from Kansas are still on the board, Dotson and Bryant. Noah Williams from Cal, very impressive. 80 overall grade, 6'1", 200. Prototypical size, in my opinion. Jacob Parrish from Kansas State, solid but not great. Zy Alexander from LSU. LSU is a great program, guys. 81.2 grade. 11 games. Pretty solid season, man. Pretty solid season. 81.8 coverage grade. Run defense grade, pretty mediocre. And the man coverage grade at 65. I don't love that. Mello Dodson, back-to-back 76, 77 PFF grade campaigns. Again, man coverage pretty solid at 74.2. For me, in the NFL, you got to be able to play man-to-man if you want to be a starter in this league. Run defense grade. Great run defender, Kobe Bryant. Very, very solid. 6'1", 175. A little bit thin. His teammate Dodson coming in at 6'1", 190. A little bit better size. Noel Williams, guys. the guy from Cal. To me, he seems pretty solid. The man coverage grade coming in at 67.7. Good, not great. The best guy at man coverage of the three guys left is Mello Dotson. 6'1", 190, pretty good size. I think Dotson is the guy for us here. Pretty solid year. Man coverage grade 74.2. I love that. Zone coverage grade pretty solid at 75.8 as well. Mello Dotson goes to the Vikings with their third round pick. We got our interior defensive lineman. We got one of our corners. Maybe we check out the running back depth here, guys. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn. Pretty solid year, 1,200 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. In the fifth round, man, that's a pretty solid pick there, my Minnesota Vikings fans. Kobe Hudson's interesting too from UCF. But if we look at this roster, right, so we're picking in the fifth round, pick number 1. Running back, guard, D-line, cornerback. We could check out the guards. I want running backs, offensive tackles, and interior offensive linemen. That's kind of where we're looking at right now. Connor Colby from Iowa, pretty dang solid year, but pass block grade in the 60s in college. I don't know how that translates to the NFL. Tyler Cooper from Minnesota. Again, pass block grade, not where I want it to be. Khalil Mullins, very solid for Michigan, guys. 5 yards per carry, almost 1,000 yards. But for me, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn, what a year. 1,200 yards, 5'10", 209, pretty solid size there as well. Yards per attempt, 6.5 yards, 8 tutties. Caught some balls out of the backfield too. Picking in the fifth round, this guy's still being around, hanging around a 1,200-yard season guy. I like that. I'm picking him for the Minnesota Vikings, right? So we got 2 defensive players in Dotson and Grant, and we went running back in the fifth round. Unfortunately, guys, this is our last pick. Is Connor Colby. He's interesting. The pass block grade, I don't love it. I want guys that can pass block a little bit, but we need to protect, especially if J.J. McCarthy is going to be the quarterback next year. We need to protect him. Ja Joyner from Minnesota, he is on the board in the fifth round, 6'5", 265. I like him as well. Cody Simon is on the board. Denzel Burke. Danny Stutzman, I do like him. The center, Monahan, is on the board as well. It's going to be a tough pick here in the fifth round. John Williams, the tackle from Cincinnati. Pass block rate, 86.3. 2-year starter at left tackle for Cincinnati. He's probably a guard at the NFL level. Vikings fans, when we pull up the depth chart and take a look at this roster, definitely thin at cornerback. These defensive linemen, very thin there. Center and left guard could definitely be upgraded a little bit as well. I like the wide receiver room there. Probably got to bring in a running back, a veteran running back at some point. But the guards and center definitely in play for me. Jones from LSU, I don't love that. John Williams, his pass block rate is too good to pass up. They can teach him how to run block a little bit better. He's a tackle for Cincinnati, but he's probably going to get moved into guard. 6'5", 320, great size for a guard in my opinion. Jack Nelson on the board as well. 3-year starter at left tackle. Run block grade, pass block grade, pretty solid. Maybe we go with the Badger here, guys. Giving up 1 sack in almost 400 passing snaps. So how many sacks? 100, about the same. He's a really good pass blocker, but the gap grade, the zone grade, and the run block grade aren't necessarily where that we want them to be. And I think a guy like the zone grade is a lot better than those zone run schemes. I think Jack Nelson, the tackle from the Badgers, put him in at guard, could definitely fill in on this offensive line. Not a lot of picks this year for the Minnesota Vikings, but first 3 picks, all A's. Kenneth Grant, Mello Dotson, Jarquez Hunter. Amazing picks. And Jack Nelson's just a depth pick at the offensive line. You always want to bring in young guys in the offensive line room, in my opinion. He could swing at tackle, play guard, can kind of be a swing guy for you for the Minnesota Vikings. Need a little more depth there to protect J.J. McCarthy. He's a great pass blocker. Can also block really well in those zone run schemes. I like that for Jack Nelson, the tackle from the Wisconsin Badgers. All right, Minnesota Vikings fans, I know this isn't exactly what you want to see, only having 4 picks in a draft with all these free agents at premium positions like quarterback, like running back, like cornerback. It's not great. But I think if the draft falls like this, Minnesota Vikings fans are going to be pretty happy. Kenneth Grant, Dotson, Hunter, all amazing picks in my opinion. All right, don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.